Wednesday on Speed, it's the Drag Race High Marathon starting at 5:30 p.m. and ending with the season finale at 10 p.m. Again, that's Wednesday only right here on Speed. Drag Race High. The Bulldogs and the Wildcats meet up once again. Riding along with two of Tim George there. That was actually a good shot of the ignition box that we were talking about earlier, Mallory ignition box. Ken Schrader still in front of the field. And behind him it's Sean Case, but now Sean Case is back 2.5 seconds from Ken Schrader.
Yeah, and Parker Kligerman, the third place car, is about 7 seconds behind right now. We really felt like he was going to be the guy, if we got a long run, that would maybe make a run at Kenny. He's not been able to keep the pace.
Back there just a little bit further is Craig Gose, and Craig Gose is driving the number 81. It's another one of Eddie Sharp Racing's cars, and just kind of the history of that. Patrick Donahue's the crew chief. He was the guy who got Michael McDowell moving through this series and up into the Cup Series. Then he worked with Scott Speed. He has now progressed on to the Cup Series, and now he's working with Craig Gose.
Yeah, Patrick said that Craig Gose really has what it takes. He said he's a good listener. He said if I tell him to run against the wall, he runs against the wall. If I tell him to run the apron, he'll run the apron. A really good listener, a quick learner. He said I'm really confident that this kid is going to have some success. Ray, what's going on with that 81 car?
Phil, one of the things I think is really interesting, obviously you'd love to have Patrick Donahue as your crew chief in this series, but when you look at Craig's experience, he comes out of Legends car racing, and a lot of the young drivers these days either started in go-karts or Legend cars, but listen to these numbers. 129 wins for Craig Gose in Legends cars at 24 different tracks. That shows you he's got a lot of versatility, and I think it'll be fun to watch these two work together, Donahue and Gose. Jim Trado?
Just ahead of Gose is Matt Merrill, youngster out of Texas, racing with Wintron Racing, the Daytona winner with James Busher. Merrill ran this car within the top 10 at Salem. He's now back at the wheel, running fifth now. They made two changes, just a slight adjustment to tighten that car up. Merrill doing a great job for his first time in an ARCA car at the Rock. Last year he qualified second and was running fourth with 30 to go in a 200-lap USAR race. So his experience and the team's experience is paying off for that team.
It's a good battle. The two guys we just talked about right there. Matt Merrill, the 32, running fifth. The 81 of Craig Gose running sixth. Craig running right down on the bottom of the racetrack, able to pull up beside Matt, going down the front straightaway.
And his lap times have been really good. He's been one of the only cars that could run high 26s. He did in that lap, but for the most part, his car's been coming forward.
Jim mentioned his first race at the Rock. There are 23 drivers in this field, the field of 40, that are making their first starts at the Rock. So a lot of inexperience at this racetrack, being led around the track by a lot of experience.
Well, I think that goes to show you that experience definitely means something. But you know, you've seen a lot of guys get in trouble. But like we talked earlier, this is a great place to learn how to slide your car around and move around the racetrack, and really promotes a lot of things that you want to learn coming to this level, as far as grip and throttle control and a lot of things that go with a lot of things that you'll take to a lot of different places.
I don't want to jinx anything, but we're about 3/4 of the way into this race here, and it's been a pretty clean race.
Yeah, it has been clean.
You said you want a caution?
Well, I mean, the crew chiefs do.
You called it last time.
The crew chiefs want a caution because we're at the 3/4 mark, so we need another caution flag, and that'll be just about even.
Inside 50 laps to go. Again, we started this race just a bit earlier than they had expected because we thought precipitation was going to be a problem. We have not had that issue today, as Frank Kimmel goes a lap down now to Ken Schrader.
That's Ryan Crane, the red car right in front of Kenny Schrader. That's actually one of James Finch's cars out of the Phoenix Racing stable. That's a young driver from James's hometown of Panama City, Florida. And he said, I wanted to give him a shot and see what he could do. So we loaned him a car, and here he is doing a nice job. He just now goes down a lap. He lost an engine in practice. The guys had to change an engine, but he's right now running in the 11th spot.
And that goes to show you how hard just getting the setup right and things are. You know how good Frank Kimmel is, and he just went a lap down. So if you're off just a little bit and somebody's really hitting on all 8 cylinders like Schrader is this week, you can go down a lap in a hurry here.
You mentioned, well, let's go down to Jim Trado first here. Jim?
Just a quick update on Ryan Crane. They had one lap of practice before that motor let go, Phil, and you know how hard it is to get around here when you know what you're doing. His second lap on the racetrack yesterday was in qualifying. He qualified 10th in the 51, and he and the Mike Garvey-led crew put a setup under that car they thought would work, and a great job, and a shout-out to those guys, as this is his very first time stepping on the grounds here at Rockingham, much less seeing it on television.
Frank's going to try to get back by Ryan Crane to take over that 11th position. They're right in front of the 25 of Sean Case. Remember, Sean's trying to chase down Kenny Schrader. Has some heavy traffic, but Sean's been running the high side of the racetrack, so he's got plenty of room up there.
Got one in the, just scraping the wall. Looks like the 90 car there.
90 of Gabby DiCarlo scrapes the wall coming out of turn number 2. That's passed for position.
And this is when it gets really dicey, is when you have a lot of cars that are really ill handling, and you got cars that are in your line that are running about the same speed that are a lap down. It gets tough to decide where you're going to go.
As we're closing in on the final laps here, 43 to go. Impressive runs for Parker Kligerman once again. Hasn't finished outside the top 10 in his career in the ARCA RE Series, although it's been just a short few races. Patrick Sheltra continuing his good 2009 season.
There's Parker right there running third right now. Remember, these guys pitted around lap number 106. That left us with 94 laps to go. They ran a few caution laps. I'd say that's right in the window of probably being able to make it all the way. Now, they're going to be slipping and sliding on these tires in 90-some laps, but fuel-wise, I think, especially with the Mallory ignitions and limiting these cars to 8,800 RPMs. And remember, these guys still have the 22-gallon fuel cells, not the 18-gallon fuel cells that NASCAR has.
Yeah, and I tell you, there won't be a lot of happy drivers at that point because these things will be a really, really big handful. But hey, if it's the same for everybody, that's a good thing for us to watch.
I tell you what, Ken Schrader is doing to the field what Joey Logano did a year ago. He is just putting car after car after car a lap down. Now there are only 10 cars on the lead lap. Alex Yance, who started on the outside, actually now there's only 9 cars on the lead lap. Alex Yance goes a lap down. He again started in the number 2 position, just outside of Ken Schrader at the beginning of this race, and now he's a lap down.
And this is really where it starts to show up of taking care of your stuff. You know, Schrader has been consistent. His car has been straight. You saw the 25 kind of slide his car around there at the beginning of those runs, and that really sets the tone as far as where you're going to be 50, 60 laps from that point, and you're just taking life off of those tires every time you slip a tire.
Last time Ken Schrader made it to victory lane in the ARCA RE Series was 2007 at DuQuoin. That was his 15th win in this series. We'll be right back.